Now, just recently, Senator Malcolm Roberts exposed a staggering figure. 23,000 foreign students have bought their way to qualifications from dodgy operators. They haven't earned them. They were bought, B-O-U-G-H-T, in direct violation of visa conditions. Senator Roberts joins us now to explain exactly what is going on and why Canberra seems determined to put foreigners and dodgy operators ahead of what is in the best interest of Australians. Senator Malcolm Roberts, welcome to the Super Radio Network.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thanks for having me.
This is not only a betrayal of the student visa system. It's wrong. It's illegal based on the regulations. It's a betrayal of every hard-working Aussie who want to educate their kids and contribute legitimately to our society. It should not be tolerated.
Exactly. And the government is very wishy-washy about this whole thing. And I want to say right up front, I'm an immigrant. I'm half an immigrant. But in 2024, let's get to the heart of the issue. 2024, 23,000 foreign students were found to have purchased qualifications. They bought their degrees, many in aged care and early childhood, from deregistered providers like SPES Education.
How do they do that? They just get online and buy them, do they?
What happens is they provide the fees and that's it. That's how they buy them. So This is a clear breach of their visa conditions under Section 8202 and defeats the entire purpose of studying in Australia, which is to support the Australian education industry while acquiring real skills they can use to contribute to the growth of Australia or their country of origin.
Yeah.
And the penalty for such a serious breach of law and breach of trust, that's what it is. It's a breach of trust with the Australian people, Chris, must be the cancellation of the individual's visa and deportation, along with any family member to bring with them while studying in Australia.
But is that happening?
No, it's not. I asked Minister Murray Watt, whether the government would cancel the visas of those students and others who have obtained qualification fraudulently. When you listen to my post of the video of Watt and me having an exchange in question time, if you listen closely, you get gaslighting, waffle, backslapping, complimenting himself, all to avoid admitting that the Albanese government has no intention of deporting these illegal students. None at all.
Really?
And what's worse, Chris, they have made promises repeatedly to decrease immigration, net immigration, and decrease foreign students. Foreign students last month were higher than, for the total was higher than it's ever been before. That shows dishonesty. It's misinformation, mate.
And Jason Clare, even last week, Malcolm, announced more invitations for overseas students. We've got 1.1 million international students enrolled in Australia at the moment, and that's 250,000 more than what we had before the pandemic. They have no intention of taking this back. Do you think it's political? Do you think it's because every new immigrant, especially that young cohort, becomes a voter for that party for the rest of their lives?
That's partly it, but there are other motives as well. And if you look at this student visa, immigrants, it's not just students, it's net immigration. He has promised for 2 years in a row to decrease net immigration. Both years it's increased. We've had a record on record on record. Again, distrust, dishonesty and misinformation.
So is any attempt...
75,000 illegals here in breach of resident visas. Only one nation policy is to deport them.
Just repeat that last statistic for us.
75,000 people here illegally in breach of resident visas. And Chris, the consequences are horrific. They're inhuman. The homelessness is at record levels in our country.
Yep.
Foreign students can bring their families here. They send $11 billion a year back in wages earned in this country. And what's more, education standards are falling. We've got group classes because many of the foreign students cannot speak the adequate levels of English, so they've got to piggyback on Australians. They're not English speaking. The standards are lowered. The courses and degrees are easier to get. So this affects the education of Australian students. And what's more, the costs of running a degree course are falling because of the group classes and the regurgitation of the same lecture material, the same videos. Yet the fees are increasing, and students, after they graduate with some of these useless degrees, can't get jobs. It's a Ponzi scheme to get foreigners in here and get them jobs.
Yes, of course it is. So if we don't have any intention to punish, deport, or take these students who have obtained their qualifications by buying them, if we don't have any intention to get rid of these people, and we think that's all okay to be illegal when you first step foot into the country. Are we doing anything about the businesses selling the qualifications?
Yes, they have been prosecuted. The government has done that.
Good.
But they're not eradicating the lot. And what Minister Watt could not answer my basic questions, or would not answer my basic questions. Look, Chris, mass immigration is a huge problem. It started with John Howard. Mass immigration smashes culture. This is answering your previous question. Mass immigration started the homelessness crisis, which is now at record levels. Mass immigration suppresses growth in wages. It hurts workers. Mass immigration increases inflation. Mass immigration chokes infrastructure, schools, hospitals, roads, energy. Mass immigration gives new arrivals immediate access to welfare and rights. The 60s and 70s, we had migrants coming here who wanted to fit into the culture of Australia. And that was part of their visa conditions.
Yeah.
And they didn't get welfare. What we're giving people now is a free ride to destroying the culture of the Australian nation.
And you wonder why there are pushes for anti-mass immigration rallies at the end of this month. I don't know whether they're going to get up, they're going to make it, but it's spreading like wildfire. I've had so many listeners express an interest in going along.
Yeah, we've been pushing, my office in particular, well, Pauline has been pushing this immigration, raising the standards, lowering the numbers. In fact, we want negative net migration. In other words, more people leave in a year than come, because we're at catastrophic levels of homelessness.
Yeah.
Pauline's been pushing this issue since 1996. I've been pushing the issue since I got in 2016 and accelerated that. I've been leading the charge against excessive migration in this country for the last 3 years, and others are now starting to pile on. But the Labor Party and the Liberal Party, when we started making inroads with them on this during the election campaign, they came out and said, we'll cut immigration, but they haven't got any specific numbers. We have got specific numbers all over the place on what we're going to do.
Yeah. Can I just raise one last point and a tangent to what you're doing? You're trying to get some of these policies out there. You're trying to expose some of these rorts, but it must be getting harder for you because the government has cut back on staff in the minor parties. And have they targeted One Nation?
Yes, they have. They've targeted people who don't vote very often with the government, and they've left alone the people who do vote often with the government.
Really?
There are two types of staff we have: electorate office staff who serve constituents, and parliamentary advisors. The electorate office staff have been left alone. The parliamentary advisors, we got 2 each before the election. They help us with doing reviews of legislation, research, writing speeches. They're essential for democracy. What's happened now is that this has changed for some crossbench. After the election, some retained what they had. Jackie Lambie has 3. Lydia Thorpe has 2. David Percock has 2. Tammy Tyrrell has 2. All vote mostly in support of Labor. Others have halved to just 1. Pauline, me, Warwick Stacey, Tyrone Whitten, all One Nation senators, Ralph Babette.
Gee, it's a nasty political cut, isn't it?
It is. It's a savage cut, but it's undemocratic. It's a real middle finger to the electorate in Queensland, Western Australia, New South Wales and Victoria.
The Conservatives are going to cop it, and haven't they? All the very best, Malcolm Roberts. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Chris. You're welcome. Keep going, mate.
Okay, One Nation Senator Malcolm Roberts. It's interesting, not only what he had to say about these dodgy qualifications, which, if you're coming into the country for the first time and you are sprung for doing this sort of thing, you forfeit your rights to have any role in this country. And the fact that government doesn't follow this up and expel them is wrong. But as for sort of cutting his staff back to 1, and then you've got Jackie Lambie and she has 3, that is sheer political bastardry. Because you don't side with the government when it comes to some of the legislative bills.